At the end of the day, if you either want something's broken and it needs fixing, you need some information, requests, everything, and those apply in all of the different business areas, and that's built upon what was done in IT. So IT is the real foundation to enterprise service management.
Benvenuti a un nuovo episodio del podcast sui tre quarti, un podcast dove andiamo a decifrare e decodificare il linguaggio delle corporate, quindi delle multinazionali in Italia e non solo. A proposito di non solo, oggi il nostro ospite è international.
Da Londra direttamente.
English, da Londra.
Lui è un ServiceNow Practice Lead, si occupa di tutta la parte di EMEA per l'azienda C-Prime e oggi farà un'intervista con noi direttamente da Londra.
Benvenuto Amal. Ciao Amal, thank you for being here. Hi Amal, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. How is weather there in London? Are you in London, correct?
I am. I'm just outside of London, Greater London. Look, it's sun shining at the moment. It's cold, but it's not raining, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's good. Also here, we're near Milan. It's cold but sunny, so I like the temperature. So, thank you for being here again. I will start asking you to introduce a little bit yourself. So, what do you do for a living? We already anticipate something, but if you can explain us what is your career path, also your experience in the past, how did you get, where are you now? I don't know, introduce a little bit yourself.
Sure, thank you, and thanks again for having me here as well. So, look, my career for the last nearly 2.5 decades has all been in the service management arena, moving from IT service management into enterprise service management. So, moving, and relevant to the topics that we're talking about, moving more from just IT and tactical elements to actually what that means to a business. So I've been in various roles throughout my career. My most recent roles are as the ServiceNow practice director for a number of different organizations. So really growing the practices, looking at how we can help clients and partners to make more of their IT in line with their business and operational objectives. So yeah, quite an exciting time for me. It's
wow.
It's been a journey. I've had the good fortune of working both client side as a consultant with managed service providers. But I think the key thing for me to really getting to where I got to is really showing that willingness to get involved in not just the immediate things in front of me, but looking at exploring and having some good mentors around me as well has always been key. And I think what drives me to be where I am now is my sort of ability and my want to help other people as well. So one of the big parts for me was taking on leading the graduate program as my first real leadership role, alongside my IT service management consulting role. And from then I've enjoyed mentoring people, growing people, and obviously leading large teams. So
so number one is investing in people. So if you give, then you receive.
Yeah, my key driver is to helping people for positive outcomes is one of my taglines from my LinkedIn profile. So I guess I get most out of that, and that's both helping our clients and making sure that they're getting the right services, but also the people around me, whether they directly report to me or their peers or they work in a different team. If I'm helping them, then that certainly so it keeps me motivated.
Yeah. Thank you. That's quite interesting because we are living in a world where performance is everything. Like you have to perform in some way. You have to bring us clients. You have to work 15 hours a day, 16 hours a day. We live in a society where everything it's like performance. And many managers and people or practice leaders sometimes forget about the people. That's something quite interesting that you say. Like I personally believe something that you said, like I need to invest in people, believe in people, and also understand people, because if I am a leader, I have to check why my people is performing or not to understand where is the problem and maybe invest for some people in different areas.
I think just to add to that, I think having sort of gone through my career and looked back, what could I have done more of, or what would I have benefited from if my leaders or people around me did these things for me? I guess I reverse that and say, okay, well, I'm in a leadership position now. Let's look at what I could have done with and make sure that they have it. I think another big part of it is, people's mental well-being as well. So
Yeah.
again, well aware of the challenges. So I'm always so keen to make sure that there's an open door so that people, if they do have things that they want to speak about that might be a little bit more difficult, then I'm making it as easy as I can.
Having good mentors, I think, can bring you to another level. You can grow fast, but if you have the good mentors and you trust the good people, you can accelerate a lot your journey. Let's start with the topic of this podcast. As I mentioned, we will talk a little bit, as you're a practice leader of IT, not only, but you're leading IT teams in their process of evolving. We will talk about the evolution of IT. So over the past few years, the role of IT has started a shift from being just a technical support, the IT team. People used to thought that was the tech guy that resolved your problem when you had a problem with your email. Like, I don't receiving my email. Let's check with the IT team. The server is down. Let's check with the IT team. Yes, that is true nowadays. But IT teams are starting this shift from just a technical support function to becoming a real strategic business enabler that needs to align with the business strategies of the companies. How do you see this from your side? How have you seen this role change within the companies you have been working for, or Cprime actually, or in EMEA area in general?
Sure. No, I think it, again, goes back to something I said in my introduction, where my role and what I'm exposed to has gone from IT service management to enterprise service management, if I simplify it. I think having been involved in that, it's allowed me to see that evolution, and it's been going on. It's I guess it's more than the past few years. It's been over the last couple of decades and more in reality. And I think one of the key things is that people, the users beyond IT, of IT, have realized how much involvement there is of IT actually to make their lives easier beyond just the emails and the devices they use, etc. I think that realization has grown, that people's thinking of where IT sits within an organization has also grown, because in reality, everything that they do within their different functions relies on IT and that evolution of what IT can bring. So not just as how it is as a P&L of its own, as opposed to just a cost center, if you like, and a support function, but the role of IT and the IT capabilities in allowing HR to function better, finance to function better, has matured somewhat, quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think there's two aspects to it. There is the realization from the companies how much they rely on IT in a much broader area, but then also the development of IT, which then is, people call it business technology now, because it's not just information technology, is what they'd say. So I think those two things go hand in hand, because at the end of the day, if you either want something's broken and it needs fixing, you need some information, requests, everything, and those apply in all of the different business areas, and that's built upon what was done in IT. So IT is the real foundation to enterprise service management. And, where I guess going back to your question around what have I seen, what do I see in EMEA? Again, a lot of the organizations I've worked with, large and small, enterprise-wide, they've all needed that, evolution to make sure that, the processes are working more efficiently. We've got to try to do more with less, whether that be public sector, finance, or oil and gas. They all have those cost pressures, but then also the reduction of risk, the reputation, and it all comes down to what your back end systems allow you to do. And I think that's where the realization really is that, okay, they're not just a support function to fix things; they are that real enabler for us to actually build upon, so that we can become more efficient through some of the skills, know-how, and platforms that they all understand and are the experts in.
And I think it's where ServiceNow finds his place now. I think ServiceNow represents this journey of the IT team's evolution. It's like you start with an IT platform where I can manage tickets and all that stuff, but now you can build a platform that reaches all the areas of your company, and you make them collaborate in one single platform. So I can have financial reporting with the information stuff, with the HR stuff, and everything in one platform. How do you see now ServiceNow in this journey trying to become all-in-one platform? Do you think it's something that it's possible now, that we still need to wait some time? Or do you see some real opportunities now? Like maybe you see companies that are already trying to move everything to one platform to have this kind of global business strategy, not just vertical way like all the HR, all the ETSM, but creating an horizontal connection.
I think, look, ServiceNow, have really stolen a march in that enterprise service management space. Yes, they started out as a IT support ticketing tool, but that, and that's still a common misconception amongst lots of people, that that's what ServiceNow does, not realizing that it's really evolved quite rapidly and very effectively as well, to becoming that true enterprise service management platform. Now, will they want to take over everything and do everything? Look, they're doing a lot of things very well, but in reality, lots of organizations have multiple tools, specialist tools in the security space. They've got the human capital management tools already. So you've got to look at how realistic it is for somebody to transition from their multiple tools within the enterprise architecture onto a single tool, given how a lot of these things have grown organically. Now, trying to make that easier and allowing all those different parts to come together, again, ServiceNow is playing a massive part in doing those, sitting on, as that platform of platforms.
Yeah, people doesn't care really when you work with ServiceNow, but you just need to look at the stock price action, and you see that it's taking a place worldwide.
And it's growing, and there's still a massive target addressable market. And look, I've no doubt that ServiceNow in some areas will say, okay, we're not just going to be the system of action for that now. We are going to compete with players in those specialist areas. And I don't know what their strategy is at the moment, whether it's, trying to really compete fully in the CRM world, in the HCM world. But I think they've got the capability, the know-how, the, strategic know-how, and the drive to actually do that and become, that true platform of platforms, but also hold their own in certain areas as well without needing another third-party solution. So I think it's a case of watch this space, because I will not be surprised by anything that they sort of bring about, because they've shown that they can do all of this very well.
Yeah. That's the key point. Now, let me ask you two questions in one. So, if you can tell us if you see any challenges for these teams that need to adapt to understand the business strategy instead of just do what people tell me to do. What are these challenges? If you see some, if you have experience in have faced some problems in teams, or maybe also with clients that had these IT teams that couldn't, adapt to new software, to new mindset. And of course, if you have success stories about this, like thinking about the challenges and then the success stories beside the challenge.
Sure. Look, I think there's going to be various challenges as we evolve, have been evolving. Sometimes people just want to get on with the role, don't really want to understand necessarily what the business impacts are, etc. But in reality, they have to, right? So that adoption of a new way of thinking has already begun. In a lot of places, it's a requirement, right? When you get interviewed, or when I'm interviewing, having that real focus on outcomes, business and operational outcomes related to the technology that they may be managing or developing. So I think the challenge there will be certainly those that have been in organizations for a long period of time or been brought in a very siloed arena, that adoption and enablement was going to have to be very thorough, so that as we transition from those manual activities to more automated activities, and dealing with the distribution of resources as well, because as we evolve, things are getting faster, more efficient.
And now with AI, it's like we're running a rush. Yeah, it's super speed. It's like a rush.
Absolutely. But I think with that brings more opportunities, right? So I think we do not know what the capabilities could bring, the different way of thinking, and that will need people who understand the business to make sure that that different way of thinking is very channeled to what a business and the operations want to achieve. So that goes back to the question, to the need for people to evolve, be more involved in the business aspect of what they traditionally used to do. Now, a lot of what they do will be automated or utilized by AI. So, what else within the business can I positively impact, knowing the technology side of it? So, it is a, I think there's a lot of this, watch this space, see how things evolve. There's a journey to go on, but I think that adoption and that mindset and that willingness of those people in those environments is going to be key.
Yeah, I think you covered almost everything that I was thinking about. So I would finish this IT evolution session just asking you if you have any kind of vision of the future of IT. And as you said, not just information technology, but business technology, all the digital transformation that companies are living, the arriving of the AI, this rush that we are living, like you invent a new technology in 6 months, it's old already. So how do you see the future of IT looking ahead? If you want to talk about also evolution of ServiceNow or other platforms, what is your vision of the future in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 1 year? I don't know, whatever you prefer.
I think the important bit is sort of relating to some of the other questions that we just had in terms of the challenges, and I'll come back to that next question. I think ServiceNow is making that adoption and that evolution easier because they are investing so heavily in the likes of vertical solutions, whether it be in public sector, whether it be in healthcare, etc. And there's solutions that they're creating, and then also the horizontals, right? HR, legal service delivery, etc. So I think they're making it easier to facilitate that evolution by providing those solutions where 80% of the requirements are met by the platform out of the box to a degree. And I'm just using that figure as an example. But then there's inevitably a set of tweaks, configurations required to get it over to that 100% of what a client is looking for. Now, I guess in answer to your question about the vision, well, it's never going to be this slow again. And I think this is, got Bill McDermott and various other people that have said exactly that. So this isn't me saying that phrase, but why reinvent a phrase when it's already a good one, right?
Yeah.
We are going very, very fast, but it's just going to get faster, which is why it's never going to be this slow again. And I think it's difficult to move away from talking about AI. Now, yes, generative AI has been a great introduction. It's got its own challenges, but it's doing some amazing, there's some amazing use cases associated with it. I think the real game changer is when people really get to grips with what they can achieve with agentic AI. So where there isn't a human, there isn't an interaction in between, where it just goes, detects something, does something, all the risks are covered, all the right people are informed. We're not quite there yet at the scale that it will get to. Some organizations have embraced it and are making it work, in that automated, predictive and proactive way, but not everybody. So that's where the real focus is going to be. And as I said before, that brings up new jobs, new roles, new ways of thinking and new opportunities for those that may be displaced from the old jobs where they were more manual, more swivel chair, etc. So I think you can't really look beyond that. And it is, we'll call it less IT. We'll call it business technology. And that's where I think the focus is going to be. And it's difficult for me just now, I guess, to come up with all the ideas, but there are so many, and we could probably talk about it for hours and days.
Exactly.
Right? So many possibilities.
That's something important that you said, and then we will conclude. And it's like there will be so many new jobs and doors opened and new roles. Like people is fearing in some ways AI, like AI will steal human jobs and that stuff. And I think in some way it will be, but it could be used just to create new roles, new positions. Something that comes to mind is now if you search, you can find the prompt designer role. I mean, you get paid to write prompt to AIs. I'm trained to understand how my AI or my machine learning model wants me to ask the questions. Yeah. It's not like I need to fear it, but I need to understand how can I use it for my good.
Absolutely. And 5 years ago, 3 years ago, people wouldn't have even thought of that as a role, as a potential role forward.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at all industries where they have to ask for different things, whether it's somebody in the landscaping environment, whether it's oil and gas, etc., they're going to have to ask for different things in a different way, and we haven't covered all of those possibilities yet.
Absolutely.
So yeah, a prompt designer, we now know what it is. 3 years ago, we would have been like, what are you on about, Amal? Prompt design? What is this craziness, right? But now, and with that, as you've rightly pointed out, we will have different requirements related to making the evolution of technology even better. Therefore, there will be another role. I mean, we can go beyond that, where the technology is used to discover things beyond the technology landscape out in the world, which will then mean that there's other things that people will need to deal with. A lot of those things just haven't been discovered yet. So I think it is a scary time. Yes, there's going to be lots of people thinking, oh, well, AI is going to get rid of my job. But I guess we all have to think proactively, depending on what generation we're in, as to what is next. What is it that I can do that is either going to fuel that development or embrace the development? There's so many unknowns at the moment. Some will find that scary, some will find that quite exciting, because you just don't know what's around the corner. I think I'm in the slightly older generation, but I still find it very exciting.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot. We have talked about a lot. As you said, if we could, we would have stayed here for hours and days just to talk about the future and what is happening now, and also the companies and the enterprise. How are the enterprises reacting to this? Because it's quite different for me as end user. I mean, as a single person with a family and the stuff and friends, it's quite different how I receive these informations, how I decide to act in respect of that. And it's quite different from an enterprise. So a huge company with a lot of branches, with a worldwide expanded, how they interact now with AI, innovation, technology, like trying to adapt their teams to innovation. The digital transformation has already started some years ago, but understanding that it's getting much faster, Digital
transformation has been going on for some time, even before people knew it as the name of digital transformation.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always been some form of digital transformation going on for decades as the new technologies come about and people embrace them and embed them into their organizations. But even for you're doing what you're doing now, and you're doing what you've set out to do, but that might evolve, and you might do that for more people based upon what you've found out, the advances in technologies. So it's a super exciting time for people of small organizations, large organizations, and everything in between as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. So thank you very much, Amal. Our episode finished here. Thank you for your time. We'll keep in touch, of course.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Bye now.
Grazie Amal di essere stato con noi, un sacco di spunti interessanti, veramente.
Se avete amici che stanno imparando l'inglese, girateglielo, perché comunque fa sempre comodo ascoltarsi qualche podcast in inglese. Ricordatevi di iscrivervi, like,
commentate,
commenti, campanellini, email, agende, fate quello che volete, basta che interagite con
inviate a tutti.
Ciao.